I'm Diana, Communications Assistant for the City of Enid, and this is another COVID-19 update. Special guest with me is Executive Director Lydia Kelly for Loaves and Fishes. Thank you thank you for being on, Lydia. All right, we're going to jump right into questions, Lydia. For many people who have not or are not familiar with Loaves and Fishes, can you briefly explain to us what Loaves and Fishes is?
Sure. So we're a client choice food pantry. Pre-COVID-19, clients would come into our building, and instead of just being handed a box of shelf-stable food items, they would go shopping in our pantry and pick out things that they want. So in addition to just regular shelf-stable food items that you might find at a pantry, we also have fresh produce, dairy, meat, bread, and just great items that we want our clients to be able to choose.
Now, how has the pandemic affected Loaves and Fishes?
So unfortunately, we had to make the decision to move away from our client choice model that we were so proud of. We've now gone to a drive-through model. Clients pull through our parking lot and they get a box of food based on their household size. We are able to still provide dairy, produce, bread, and meat to our clients as well. So when they pull through, they're going to come out with a bunch of food, about as much as if they were going shopping in our pantry.
Now, has there been a decrease of food supply for Loaves and Fishes?
So we have a great food supply chain through the Regional Food Bank of Oklahoma. They do a wonderful job of making sure our storage and our shelves are stocked. We've seen a decrease in the selection that we have available, but we still have trucks coming in weekly and bringing us lots of food. We are also buying food from different wholesalers, and we have seen limited quantities of stuff we can purchase from them. But again, we do have plenty of food.
Now, Loaves and Fishes is manned by volunteers. Now, I'm assuming many of those volunteers are in the category that need to self-quarantine. Is Loaves and Fishes running on a limited amount of volunteers?
We are. A lot of our volunteers are in that at-risk category. A lot of our regular volunteers who've been with us for a long time, are staying home, which we completely understand. We have had a great group of people step up. We've seen a lot of support from the community and people coming out. We're accepting new volunteers as long as everybody is healthy and as long as they feel comfortable coming out and helping us.
Now, volunteers, are they following CDC guidelines? Are they social distancing when they are volunteering? Are they wearing some type of PPE, mask, like the Mayor Pankinen suggested?
Yeah, most of our volunteers are wearing masks. We have both masks and gloves available. The social distancing can be difficult just because of the layout of our building and the way the service is going. But we are encouraging people to follow all CDC and city recommendations, and just making sure they're being safe, washing their hands. We also have lots of disinfectant and hand sanitizer available as well.
Now, has the pandemic pushed Loaves and Fishes to think outside the box with a different food distribution system to keep serving the community?
Sure. The drive-through model was not something we had considered before. We threw it together in a couple of days, and it was a little bit chaotic at first, but we've really got it down pretty well. And we are happy that we can still continue to serve people, especially because there's so many people who need our help right now. So like I said, we are just happy that we can continue providing grocery assistance during the pandemic.
Now, when someone pulls up to get their box of food, they're required to have two forms of ID, is that correct?
They're actually just required to have one form of ID. What we require is a photo ID and proof of address. So that would only be the case if the address on your ID is not correct. Something like that would be a piece of mail with your name on it, or a utility bill, something like that. A lease agreement would also work. And we also need IDs or documentation for everybody else in the household. So for an adult, it could be their ID or a piece of mail with their name on it and the same address. And for children, we're asking for birth certificates, social security cards, Medicaid cards, anything like that that would have the child's name on it, so we can verify that they're living in that household.
Now, I did see on your website that an individual can pick up for another individual as long as they have the required ID and proof of mailing address. Is that true?
Sure. So they would need to have their ID, the person who is actually picking up the food, and the ID of the person they're picking up for, as well as a note. So that note would say, I, Lydia Kelly, give permission to Joe Smith to pick up food for me today, and I would sign it and date it. That's all we need. We just, again, we want people to stay home if they're not feeling well, but we still want them to be able to get food, especially, if they need it, and hopefully it would, help them.
Now, can you briefly explain the process of if someone is going to go up to Loaves and Fishes for the first time with this new distribution system? What would they expect? Should they wear a face mask? Should they not open their window all the way down? What do they expect?
So we do have to chat with them a little bit when they first come in. We have to check them in. We're asking people to pull into our parking lot from Main Street. They'll be greeted by myself and our director of operations, who are going to be checking them in. We're wearing face masks and gloves. We would love for people to wear face masks. We encourage it. Of course, we're not going to turn anybody away if they don't have a mask. We want to see IDs, but we don't want them to be handed to us. We just want them to hold up their ID and show us so we can grab the information off of that.
Now, is Loaves and Fishes in a network that with other food distribution entities that kind of help and coordinate this ideas and other evolving ideas, or do you bounce ideas off of any other food distribution network or entity?
Yeah, so we are part of a network of what they call food and resource centers, FRCs, through the Regional Food Bank of Oklahoma, which is in Oklahoma City. There are 15 FRCs across the western part of the state. I've been in contact with the Regional Food Bank. I've also been in contact with several of the other directors from the different FRCs. We're sort of bouncing ideas around, talking about what works best for us that might work best for other agencies. They all operate a little bit differently, but the goal is certainly the same for each of us. And so if we can make suggestions or ask for help and be able to share those with each other, it's very beneficial.
Now, something very interesting that you had touched on earlier before going on, that Enid Mask Force. Now, you got a donation of PPE, which the masks for your volunteers. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Sure. It's a group of volunteers that came together. Grown-Dyke Transportation needed masks for their drivers, and they needed them quickly and weren't able to purchase them. And so the volunteers came together. I believe Allison Burchett and Gail Wynn headed it up, and they cranked out about 1,400 masks, I think, for Grown-Dyke. And then they also were able to donate some to us, which has been very helpful. And I know they've donated to other agencies and possibly even some hospitals as well.
That is an excellent example of many people who are stepping up and doing things to help the community. Now, as us, what can we do to help Loaves and Fishes?
Monetary donations are the biggest help to us right now. We are also looking for donations of, boxes, medium-sized boxes, baby formula. We're asking any donations that come to us that we would have people wipe them down with disinfectant wipes. Also, the donations of food can only come during certain hours, because since we're distributing out of our driveway, our building is not always open. We don't have a ton of volunteers who can go through all the food, but we certainly will take donations of food and monetary donations. Those are our two greatest needs right now.
Now, how can viewers contact Loaves and Fishes if they wanted to donate or if they wanted to volunteer?
Our website is a great place to start. It's www.loavesandfishesnwok.org, all spelled out. NWOK as in Northwest Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. There's a COVID-19 tab on our website that will share specifics about what is happening right now. There's also a place to donate, and it has our mailing address and our phone number on there as well. We're at 701 East Main, and we're here most general business hours. We might be distributing. We're open for distribution Tuesdays and Thursdays from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. So everybody, it would be sort of an all hands on deck type situation during them. So we won't be able to answer the phones or anything, but we're here.
Thank you for that information. Now, I don't have any online questions for you. You did cover a lot of information, so that is going to be very useful for individuals who are going to be replaying this. Now, do you want to share anything with the viewers? Any last remarks or comments?
You know, we're here and we don't plan on going anywhere. We plan on being here throughout the pandemic. We're making adjustments to our procedures as needed. And, you know, we do have enough food. We are here. And like I said earlier, the photo ID is very important. We can't distribute food unless we see a photo ID. And then IDs are documentation for everybody in the household. And also just make sure you can verify your address. We've had some clients lining up, and we'd like to encourage clients that there's no need to line up hours before distribution. Everybody's going to get the same amount of food, and we have plenty of food.
Thank you, Lydia, for what you guys are doing. Thank you, Loaves and Fishes, and for the volunteers. Thank you. This is such a community rallying together to help the whole community, and it's such an honor to be able to connect with you guys and kind of transfer the message of Loaves and Fishes and what they're doing in the midst of this pandemic. And to the viewers, if there is a need, if you know of someone who is in need of food during this time, please share this video. And remember, we are live for our daily COVID-19 updates, Monday through Friday at 1:30 p.m. and join us tomorrow for another COVID-19 update where we will be talking to Rob Houston with Enid, Visit Enid, and to see how the pandemic has affected the tourism and event side of quality of life, and also to see the very neat idea and project that he's putting together for the community of Enid. Thank you and join us tomorrow.